Quick, delete all your social media accounts immediately. No, but wait, not immediately. Wait, listen to this first, then you can decide.
I'm a dad, baby.
Yeah, I'm a dad. We're dads. You're a dad. I'm a dad. We're better off, Dad. Trying to do the right thing when things are hard. So let's get into it.
But before we do that, if you like our videos and you like our content, why not hit the like button, comment, subscribe, and hit that little bell notification so you don't miss a single video.
I had an epiphany the other day. It's when you remember Devin Hawkins from high school, and it's like I told you, he's all right. I'm not sure we'd be best friends if we hung out, but we've hung out before and we got along okay. And I like him. He's a good person. He's gone super heavy into the Bible thumping universe, but it's like so far he hasn't posted anything goofy. It's just a lot of Jesus and God stuff, right? But he posted something the other day that I just stopped. And it was a share. It wasn't his original content. He shared something to the effect of you have to learn. It wasn't saying you have to do anything. It was just saying learn to be okay with people not knowing your side of the story.
Right.
And I just stopped and I was like, all of my angry posting over the last 2 years.
And there's been a lot of it.
Part of it has just been because there's a lot to be angry about. But another part is, it wasn't, I like to joke, it's screaming into the void, right? When you post something on social media.
Yeah.
But it wasn't really screaming into the void. It was screaming at several specific people, right?
We all do that though, dude. We all low key, focus on 2 or 3 people, but we're very broad.
The rationalization, of course, was they're just avatars, right? It's really screaming at everyone who has contributed, either contributed or hasn't done anything to stop where we currently are in the current landscape, making these times hard. Especially if you're trying to raise kids, especially if you're trying to raise kids who are part of a marginalized group.
Right.
They're avatars, right? So I rationalized it by going, okay, fine. Even if they can't hear me, even if they're not seeing it, at least I'm getting the message out there, to the universe.
We've actually had that conversation, you and I, discussing this a long time ago. But
yeah.
So you're consistent.
Was I more wise back then, or
no? You're consistent. So
probably by definition more wise.
Well, I would hope.
As time has gone by. That is a thing we do, right? We just scream. So here's the progression, though. Like I took my whole profile to only friends can see it a while back, right? For reasons that people know me would know. I made sure only friends could see my stuff. And I actually did it retroactively. So anything that was public went to friends only. Then I went through a whole thing, and I think that's been documented. I went through a whole thing of getting rid of friends who I didn't really know. And I unfriended anybody with any sort of problematic whatever, right? So it came down to the only people left on that were actually hearing me scream were probably these 2 or 3 people that I'm talking about.
And me.
And you. Well, and people that already agreed, right? I'm just screaming and people are like, no, we get it. We know how you feel about that, right? So when I saw that thing about, maybe other people don't need to know your story, like maybe you need to be okay with that, I unfriended all 3 of those people. And they're relatives, by the way. They are people I am related to. And I just decided, like, who cares? Right? So my relationship, I didn't realize this would happen, but my relationship with social media is like evolving and changing as a result of that. Like there's nobody to scream at anymore.
Right.
But you know what? I don't tell these stories just to share a part of me. I am sharing a part of me, but I get the feeling that I'm not the only one who uses social media for that, right? That's just like, I need to scream somewhere. But it started me thinking, is it healthy or not? And I don't know. But what I do know is if you're really trying to like tell somebody what the different social, because it could be Facebook, it could be Twitter, it could be now Threads, it could be
Yes,
Instagram.
apparently.
There's a whole bunch of different like social medias, right?
Hmm.
So the question is, what if you had to explain to someone what each app is for? Like why you would, have you ever had to try to do that? Well, today's
No.
episode is going to be a visual aid to help you explain to your friends what the different social media apps are using Lord of the Rings characters.
Everybody loves Lord of the Rings characters.
So I ran across this and it just cracked me up. And it was right in the middle of my come to Jeebus moment about Facebook. So I was like, and it was right as I was like, I'll get on Threads just to see what it's about.
Yeah,
You
because
know,
I asked you about your opinion of Threads a couple days ago, and you were like pretty standoffish about it. So
was I? I didn't mean to
yeah,
be.
well,
It's pretty
no,
much Twitter.
like you were pretty hardcore dead set against it. It seemed like.
Was I?
Oh yeah,
I didn't mean to be. No,
no, it's fine. You do
it's
you,
like
man.
it's like Twitter, but it's not become 4chan yet.
Hmm.
Well, why should I try to explain it? Let's let AR Moxon at Julius Goat explain it using Lord of the Rings characters. So Twitter, if you, Twitter, and I think it, it's just a normal halfling, but then overexposure to evil left it thin and stretched and bitter. So this is, I'm thinking this is post Elon Twitter.
Yeah.
I think Twitter was a cesspool before Elon, but
I
it's now
I
basically
agree.
4chan.
I agree. I never got heavily into it because that's how I felt. I felt with Twitter the same way I feel about Facebook when I get off of Facebook, like which is the same feeling of eating like a Whopper from Burger King.
Yeah.
You know, you just feel gross.
I couldn't figure out Twitter. I remember when it first came out, like I was like, this is like Twitter was like watching broadcast TV, right? If something was on and you got there late, you just missed it.
Mm,
You just weren't part of that. Whereas like Facebook or MySpace or whatever was more like streaming or recording on a, you could watch it when you wanted to. You didn't have to
yeah.
be there when it happened. But
Yeah.
so you asked me about Threads. The so I think Threads is like Gollum, or at least this guy does. Will do
Yeah.
anything to acquire the precious. That's pretty much right now. Threads looks exactly like Twitter,
Hmm.
and people are kind of using it like Twitter.
Yeah.
And it's pretty much just Mark Zuckerberg, giving Elon the middle finger.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so it is a chance to start over, though. So I'm out there trying to figure out what it is and how it
You're
works
trying
and
to get
stuff.
on. You're trying to get on top of that wave.
I'm trying to
You
get
don't
on
want to
top of the
be
wave.
bringing up the rear.
Right, exactly.
Like for once in my life, I'm gonna be ahead of the game.
I thought AI was it, but I'm already too far behind.
AI doesn't stand still for a second.
I've never heard of Blue Sky, but apparently Blue Sky is Gollum. Isolated, I guess, I haven't heard of it. That makes sense.
Hmm.
Mostly nude. Okay, I guess I gotta go get a Blue Sky.
I was saying
account.
Blue Sky was, yeah. Seems interesting. I don't know why.
I'm intrigued.
I mean,
Mastodon is Gollum's. This Gollum here specifically, you can tell it's him. It just doesn't look quite right. This one is when Elon first bought Twitter and then first started doing his shenanigans with Twitter. Mastodon was the first one, and I went out to it just to check it out. And it's this Gollum because you're like, I can see what you're doing, but something's not right here.
Yeah, I've never. Last I heard, Mastodon was a band. I didn't know it was a social media outlet.
What it was or is, it's been around, I guess. Nobody had ever heard of it until it was like, everybody, here's my Mastodon thing. Meet me on Mastodon. And what you found out, or what I seemed to think, was it was sort of like Discord, where like you could have your own Mastodon server and then you could invite people to your server.
Oh
And
yeah.
I was like,
Okay.
well, but how is that? Like, what if I want everybody to see my stuff? What if I want to
Then
be
just
famous?
get on Discord. Why do you got to get on Mastodon?
Right? Telegram or something. Facebook is Gollum, and I posted this one standalone to my Facebook account because it's the I don't know how to quit you.
Yes.
No depths it won't delve to, for sure. Soul almost entirely rotted away. This disquieting but pathetic and impossible to get rid of. I love this. Once it takes hold of us, it never lets go.
Man, that is, out of them all, that's the most accurate one so far.
Love it. I don't know how to get rid of
And
Facebook.
and it's disheartening when like my Facebook memories pop up and it'll be like I'll go I'm looking for pictures of my kids when they were smaller. 11 years ago.
Yeah.
What? I've been on this stupid thing this long?
Longer. I think 2008. Although you got
Yeah.
you were hacked and you had to start a new one.
Yeah. I mean, I was like the last man out of Vietnam. I was hanging on the rail of the helicopter when it came to like MySpace though. I was kicking and screaming into Facebook and I hated it at first. Now I'm back to hating it again.
I don't remember ever not hating it, but I also don't remember ever feeling like I could just quit it. Although there was one time.
Yeah.
There was one time I quit for a couple of years for about 3 months. I was done.
Yeah.
You know what saved it for me is groups.
Yes. Yeah.
Instagram is Gollum. Look at the odds. Clearly a filter, right?
Yes. One of my friends described Instagram as Twitter for illiterates.
Yes. I love the big eyes and all right. TikTok. Here you go. Here's yours.
All right.
Highly performative, deeply disturbing. Didn't speak for ages and now won't stop. Oh, does both parts of the dialogue.
Okay, hashtag accurate.
He
Pretty
does
good. Does both parts of the dialogue.
I love this. The deeply disturbing to me is I love the thing where people where politicians will go, that TikTok, all it is young girls dancing in bikinis. And like, dude, it's an algorithm.
And TikTokers will like go to their profile and like scroll through who they're following.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's all girls in bikinis. It's like, dude, two swipes later and you can have something else.
Man, all TikTok is how to build a bomb and plant it at the local Democratic headquarters. That's all TikTok is. TikTok is just how to get more fentanyl, like, and how to make your own meth. That's all TikTok is.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
All it is what you want it to be, kids.
It does both parts of the dialogue. All right, let's see what Lord of the Rings character is the next one. Truth Social is Gollum. It's
just screaming.
He might even have that rope on him, that elf rope.
Yeah, it's where he thinks he's dying for just a teeny weeny little bit of inconvenience.
Yes. He's so oppressed.
It oppresses
for those of you
us.
that don't know, Truth Social is the one that Trump bought with campaign donations, probably.
More than likely.
And he signed an agreement that he would not use Twitter. So when Elon let him back on Twitter, he was like, no thanks. I am contractually obligated to stay on Truth Social, which is interesting that he would comply with that contract when he hasn't complied with any others, including the Constitution.
He probably wrote it himself in crayon on a napkin.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Snapchat is Gollum. Has no idea what's Tater's precious. What is that look on his face?
That's the look of needing more water in your diet.
Hive, which I've never heard, is also Gollum, and it's apparently being tossed into the.
Yeah.
Maybe Hive is going away. Maybe that's why.
And let's hope it's taking Gollum and all the others with it.
Yeah, no kidding. Co-host, which I've never heard of. You can kind of see him if you squint.
Yeah, that's another one I don't know.
And then LinkedIn is this guy. So I don't know if any of y'all have ever been on LinkedIn, but holy crap. The only other social media I could see being this guy would be Nextdoor. And I wish this guy had done a Nextdoor, and it would have, I don't know, maybe the Deadpools of whatever that Eleanor or whatever that was. Where they, Nextdoor is absolutely awful. Nextdoor is like
heard.
Local 4chan.
Yeah.
But
I don't even like talking to my neighbors. Why the hell would I get on a platform to talk to my neighbors?
Right? Yeah, so that's our addendum here is Nextdoor. It's like if you sign up for Nextdoor, my recommendation is use a fake name and a fake address. It's against the rules of Nextdoor. It's against the terms and conditions. You're supposed to use your real name and your real address. I recommend against it.
I mean, that just sounds like a recipe for disaster. Given what I know about your neighbors and what people know about my neighbors,
right?
It'd be a recipe for disaster.
Here's the question and the answer. Why would you want your neighbors to know who you are and where you live? Says every middle-class white person ever.
On Nextdoor.
Every privileged middle-class white person would be like, why wouldn't I want them to know where I live? It's like,
yeah,
the only people who are like, I don't see what the problem is if you're not doing it. It's got the big, well, if you're not doing anything wrong, then what's the problem?
If you would just comply with Nextdoor.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. But it's crazy out there, y'all.
All I know is Tony Isabella keeps getting banned from Nextdoor. So he's got to be doing something right.
Then I'm in good company.
Yeah.
I caught a 10-day. I caught a 10-day ban for somebody had put something about like having issues with their neighbors. And of course, every boomer on the Nextdoor app is like, well, back in my day, we'd just walk over and knock on the door and have a conversation like decent neighbors, And I just said,
and like everything else, that didn't happen.
Right. That never, and so I just posted, hey, you might want to be careful about doing that because you don't even need a permit to own a gun in Indiana.
Oh, that's right.
Considering like if you happen to be, I don't know if you are, but if you happen to be in any of the, oppressed groups, including person of color, LGBTQ, or anything else that they happen to be picking on this week, just remember, most Indiana people are armed.
Yeah.
Before you decide to go walking over to your neighbors, knocking on the door, complaining about something.
Yeah.
I caught a ban for that. And the reason for the ban was bullying. Apparently, warning someone that their neighbor might be armed and you might not want to just walk up to their door is considered bullying. So,
bro, a boomer created Nextdoor because that's absolute victim mentality.
The other thing they do, I read about, like, while I was taking a break from Nextdoor, a forced hiatus, if you will, I just looked up, like, because I know how Facebook does it. They have literally tens of thousands of people, plus a lot of software. So when you catch a ban or you catch a, this goes against our community standards on Facebook, it's software usually. If you contest it, it might be an actual person, but
Mhm.
it's one of 10. They actually have tens of thousands of people. They're all over the world. Like they have huge offices in India, uh, on the west coast of the U.S., just everywhere.
Mhm.
Hell, they may have some in Indiana. I don't know, but it's tens of thousands of people, um, just all day long, just looking at these things. And they got
Yeah.
to, it's like any other production job. They have a quota.
Yeah.
They're timed. They can't sit there and think about it. They just got to look at it, glance at it, make a decision, and move on. Right.
Well,
Um,
that one podcast you sent me a couple years ago that talked about that.
yeah. Yeah.
They have to have tons and tons of people in the Bible Belt, because the one lady that was talking, basically, if it went against her, her religious morals, it
Mm,
was a violation.
yeah.
So if there's one person saying that, there's a lot more than just, that one person. So they probably have a huge chunk of, you know what do you want to call them, like Karens sitting out there in the Midwest swiping on your posts that they don't agree with.
Yeah. It's silly. But on Nextdoor, you know what they have?
Hmm.
They have what they call neighborhood I forget what they call it, but it's like neighborhood people. So it's
Mm,
not even people that work for Nextdoor. They've got no training, they've got no um, process, they've
hmm.
got nothing. At least Facebook, even if it's terrible, has guidelines and a process and all that stuff, right? With
Yeah.
Nextdoor, it's just if one of the people who live in your neighborhood happens to think
Yeah.
that they want to take it down, they'll take it
We
down.
all know
So
that, and if that's the case, we kind of know who keeps reporting you.
yeah.
Yeah, I think it's like that podcast also said it was like 6 seconds. They have
Hmm.
they have an average of 6 seconds to look at an image and decide whether or not to, ban it or not.
Yeah, and it makes you wonder what what incentives they have. Like, if you accidentally ban something that should not have been banned, do you get in as much trouble if you let if you let something go that you should not have let go? I wonder.
I, I don't know, and I don't want to know.
Who cares? Yeah,
Yeah.
I here's one thing I know for sure,
Hmm.
and I until somebody shows me some scientific data otherwise, this is what I will continue to believe, even though part of me doesn't want to believe it, and that is Facebook. I'm guessing, and I haven't read anything to refute this. Again, send me some links in the comments if I'm wrong. I don't believe Facebook has a rightward lean or a leftward lean or whatever in terms of you take the median of, at least in the US, and it's a
Hmm.
global, they got 2.1 billion users. So clearly Facebook is not the US, right? But if you
It
just
kind
kind
of
of,
is, but it isn't.
you kind of take the median political view, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm guessing Facebook averages out in terms of what they ban, what they don't ban, and everything, somewhere close to that median, right?
Hmm.
And so if you are to the right of center, you think Facebook is left book, and they only ban Trump stuff, and they only ban stuff that conservatives put out there. If I put
Yeah.
anything about Jesus, they're going to ban it, right? If you're to the left of center, you think Facebook is Nazi book, right?
Yeah.
They only ban leftward leaning stuff. They don't ever ban the Trump stuff, right? Um, I just believe that, and unless I'm shown data otherwise, I will continue to believe it.
I'm
Um,
willing to believe you,
so
because it's like anything else. Well, it's not like anything else, but I mean, it's the least filtered as far as like what counts as like hate and stuff like that. Because
yeah,
I've seen people post things that make like that are extremely right leaning hate bullshit,
yeah,
and that still makes it on. But if I do have a picture of a certain dead dictator, you know, with a funny quote about what a moron he is, I get banned. So
yours,
they have these weird like zero tolerance things for certain images, I guess.
your situation is interesting, and I would love to know. I hope NPR does a podcast about your situation.
They call me.
Yeah, because there has to be something. My statement about left, right, and all that
Hmm.
is I'm making a statistical claim.
Hmm.
Um, about if you consider like all users, right?
Sure.
Whereas there's you and people like you where it's like crap gets banned that you post that like I think mine I think I did that experiment where I posted exactly the same thing you posted and mine got
Yeah.
taken down too.
Hmm.
But I was really surprised by that because I was like, that meme template, I think the one I'm thinking of is the meme template where Crowder
Yeah.
is sitting there, the change my mind meme template. That's been out
Hmm.
there forever. Why would
Yeah.
they suddenly start banning that meme template? I just don't even, it's wild.
Yeah.
But we're here to talk about Facebook,
Yeah.
whether or not to leave Facebook. Um, it's an interesting thing because my friend from college never joined, never got on Facebook, never got on Twitter. He's on LinkedIn, as far as I can tell. I think he is.
So he's the
Um,
guy.
yeah, he's the guy. He managed to avoid all social media, right? Uh, I don't know. He's the only person I can think of. Him, my father-in-law, maybe.
Hmm.
It's like,
Yeah.
but he's old.
Yeah.
My dad, of course. He's old.
Yeah. My brother-in-law isn't, but his wife
Uh,
sure is.
we're all in agreement that there's a lot of crappy stuff about social media, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Anxiety inducing, it echo chambery,
Hmm.
radicalization opportunities, and all that stuff. So the question is, why are we still on it? When social media first started coming out, our kids are in the guinea pig generation, right?
Hmm.
We're like, what is it? And do they need to be on it? Should they be on it? Should we allow
Hmm.
them on it? We didn't know. So we signed our kids, at least I did, signed my kids up to be part of the experiment, the
Yeah.
experimental group, right? And see if what happens, right?
Hmm.
Because we didn't know what it was. Here's what
Yeah.
we did know is if they weren't on it, they were going to be part of the out group at school, right?
Yeah.
Um, and if they aren't on it, at least they are communicating in the same way. It would have been like if our parents said, no, well, your parents probably did, but it would have been like if my parents said, you can't be part of any clubs, right? You, uh,
Wait, you got to join clubs?
oh, here's the experiment. Like I was in clubs and you weren't. Let's see. What
Yeah.
are the differences? None. Okay. Well, I guess it didn't matter.
Okay.
That's pretty scientific.
Yes.
Well, no, it would have, it put, well, I think there were probably a number of things our parents probably didn't let us do that we didn't even realize they weren't letting us do,
Hmm.
that put us in the out group. Like I remember people would come in during the week talking about, going to people's houses, right? And I was
Yeah.
like, well, other than your house and my cousin's houses, we never went anywhere, right? We never
Yeah.
did anything on the weekends other than hang out with each other.
Hmm.
Um, but it's sort of like that, and when phones were, it's like, should we get them a phone? And my wife was like, I know your experience was different, but I'm telling you, if this is how they're communicating, we don't want our kids to be on the outside of that circle of communication, right?
Right.
And then it just kind of rolled into social media. But now, so here we are, and I think my kids have managed it pretty well.
Yeah.
They've
I
made some
mean,
great
they're gonna
great
do it.
friends.
They're gonna do it whether you let them or not, and to some capacity, even if it means hanging out with their friend who's on it,
Yeah,
and seeing stuff. But I at least waited till they were in their teens before I let them do anything like that.
yeah.
And I paid attention. I paid attention to what they were doing. I wasn't a helicopter parent, or I'm not even trying to paint myself as like this super parent who watched everything their kids did. But I at least did that. And some of them took to it, some of them just went and walked away from it.
Yeah. I made sure that I got into whatever they were into just so I
Mhm.
could have an idea of what's like if they had been into Twitter, I'd probably be more into Twitter, I had
Yeah,
to get
yeah.
Instagram so I could see what Instagram was all about.
And you can
Um,
tell too, like people who there's a different we doing that, like we know things that other parents don't know. Like I'll be talking to some friends who have kids, my kids' age, no clue what the hell I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And like, I'm willing to bet your kid knows this. They're just not talking to you about it.
Yeah. Yeah, those are the positive aspects, right? I
Mm-hmm.
mean, and part of why I continue to engage with Instagram and Facebook and stuff is, yeah, there's a ton of stuff I wouldn't know. And I started to talk about groups earlier.
Mm-hmm.
That probably saved Facebook for me. Like
Yeah.
I probably would have jumped off if it was still just your own friends and family, right?
Right. Right.
It was really groups that allowed me to start to find a bigger world out there
Mm-hmm.
of people who think like I do, or maybe have been thinking like I want to think for
Yeah.
longer,
Yeah.
and I could learn from. And God,
Yeah.
there's been so much to learn about.
That's back when we put the Don't Panic radio show group together.
Yeah,
Because you'd said that seems to be the way things are going, and so that's been a while that you've been doing that.
yeah, yeah. And I found history groups, and I
Mm-hmm.
found, and not being a Twitter user, God, Reddit wasn't on the list either, but trying to figure out Reddit's like, it's so weird. It's like okay, Reddit is you show up to the club
Mm-hmm.
and they're like, "Welcome to the club. It's so fun. We have lots of different things you can do here. It's all of it's fun. It's unbelievably cool." Uh, and then you walk in the door and they go, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa. What are you doing?" And you go, "Well, I'm coming into the club." No, 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 you can't. No, no, you haven't been in the club enough. And you're like, "Okay." And they're like, "Go to a different club next door for a while, and then maybe you'll have enough club experience to be able to come in our club." And you're like, "Oh, okay." So you walk over there,
Yeah.
like, "Whoa, whoa, what are you doing?" I'm trying to come into and then you finally find one that'll let you in, right? And you're wandering around like, "What do you do here?" And everybody's like, "I don't know. What do you do?" Uh, okay. So
Yeah.
Reddit seems to be like this core group of people that are actually in Reddit doing stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
then when you do a web search for something, sometimes the result will be in Reddit.
Yeah.
And you can see what individuals think about that thing.
Yeah.
These individuals who somehow figured out to get in Reddit and
Yeah.
do stuff in there.
All I
But
know about Reddit is I was advised not to participate in Reddit. So I'm taking the word of people much wiser than I am just to stay away from it.
yeah, there's some funny stuff. Some of the memes I come out with can come out of there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But anyway, back to groups.
Mm-hmm.
It's been good because I've learned a ton. And a lot of how to talk about things and like what marginalized groups are thinking,
Mm-hmm.
like getting those voices because I still in my life like 90%, 95% or more, white straight people.
Mm-hmm.
Although when I hang out with my kids, it's the percentages get much better.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
um, my kids and their friends, but
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what keeps me coming back. The only issue is I do sometimes get into an argument in a group if it's not a well moderated group,
Yeah.
and that can increase anxiety levels.
Yeah.
But it's easier to just ignore because it's like I don't know you people.
Mm-hmm.
Like you want to say some bullshit, I'll just ignore you.
Yeah.
So I think that's why I don't get off of it. But the benefits are so it's sort of like drinking, right? It's like I don't want to quit drinking altogether. I mean, I like booze, I like beer, uh, I like the way it makes me feel sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't want to drink too much. So, but I can control it.
Strategic drinking.
Yeah. So, like with Facebook, you go, well, get rid of those few toxic people that you feel like you
Yeah.
need to scream at,
Yeah.
and then you won't feel the need to scream at them. And if you're in a
Does
group that's clearly not well moderated, leave that group.
does tequila make you throw up? Don't drink tequila. It's kind of the same thing.
Yeah, yeah. But you have to. But it's the question is the obvious. I mean, the obvious question that people are going. You can't control your drinking if you have an addiction problem. It's like, can you control your Facebook? Do you have to delete the Facebook app and disable your account? Or can you just practice good social media hygiene?
Right. That's a good question.
Yeah, and I had a few good wake up calls from the kids too, because it'd be like, and I've gotten way better at this, I hope. I think I have. Is the tendency to want to whip out your phone and, like
Mhm.
anytime there's silence, the tendency to want to, and the kids are like, I just feel like I can't talk to you because you have your phone in your hand. And I'm like, you're just waiting for me to stop talking so that you can get back to whatever you were doing. Right. It's like, I didn't even realize I was doing that.
Oh, this is
So
your kid telling you that?
yeah.
Molly, you endanger girl. There's,
So that's a good wake up call.
that's how you know you got smart kids.
Yeah. Right.
I know we don't use the S word a lot, but that's how you know you got smart kids.
Well, how about well raised?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I say it all the time. There's no right answer. We just do the best we can.
Right.
And even though it's difficult and frustrating and anxiety inducing, hey,
Mm-hmm.
we're still better off dead. Just trying to do the right thing when things are hard, but it shouldn't be this hard.
No, no, it shouldn't. Our parents made it look so easy.
Yeah, right.